Hello, everyone. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Casey. We are walking through the Growth Guru's recipe to Black Friday success. So we're going to take a look at the preparation stage, the actual physical stage of during Black Friday, and then the execution as well and the post-nurture.
I think it's also really exciting that we're diving deep into some of those aspects that I think a lot of brands actually don't consider when it comes to collecting first-party data, how you're segmenting and incorporating personalization throughout your Black Friday plan. So there's a lot of really exciting things that we are uncovering, and I think a lot of brands from various industries are going to get so much value from this session. So we have a few different things that we want to walk you guys through today, including our best practices and our strategies that have delivered over $2.8 million worth of Black Friday and Cyber Monday revenue for 5 key clients of ours. So going through a general snapshot, we work with a number of different industries and brands, including in the food and alcohol industry, fashion and apparel, health and beauty, lifestyle, and so much more. And so one thing that we want to do is just kind of reflect on a few of these brands that have delivered some exceptional Black Friday results and just kind of showcase some of their goals to show that every brand is different, especially when it comes to major sale events like Black Friday, but they all kind of follow that general Growth Gurus strategy of best practices that we're excited to walk you through today. So starting off with the brand Omnilux, this is a red light therapy brand that does a number of different masks and skincare products. They had a lot of success when it came to Black Friday last year. And so there was a number of different things in terms of their goals that they had in mind. It was something that people don't tend to purchase the same product over and over again. For this brand, you kind of have one mask and you have it for life. So when it came to Black Friday, their goals were to get non-customers to purchase for the first time, but then also to get existing customers and upsell them either for gifting, cross-sell to other products, especially like skincare products, to get them to replenish and hopefully come back again. But that required a level of segmentation of talking to different segments in different ways and different content, especially with the goal of having a high volume of campaigns throughout the Black Friday season. It was really important to have that personalization for this brand and ensure that there was nurturing and education throughout the marketing campaigns due to the nature of this product being a highly considered product that people do a lot of research on before purchasing. We then have Happy Bee, which is a woman's health and wellness supplement brand. And this isn't typically that gift-giving product that people would give during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So there was a lot of research that was done ahead of time to really dive in and understand their customers and how they were shopping with Happy Bee for Black Friday specifically. But they ultimately had the goal of getting single purchasers or people who have never purchased before over to regular subscribers. So there's a lot of different examples that I think are really beneficial for brands, whether you're in the supplement space or not. If you have that subscription model in place and that is your ultimate goal, there's a number of different tactics in terms of messaging and overall strategy that's really great to hone in on for Black Friday specifically. We then have the brand Penn State Industries, and this is, there's a few different factors with this brand that makes them a little bit unique. So this is for people that are interested in wood turning and more of that hobby kind of project-based product. So they had a older demographic. So in terms of messaging and different tactics, SMS versus MMS, those were things that we tested out during Black Friday, which led to a lot of success. But then there's also that need for personalization throughout the marketing campaigns as well, since they have different levels of expertise and things like that. So personalization based off of their experience with wood turning was really important and essential during their strategy. And then we have a home renovation brand. And so the Blue Space, they are a long-term client of ours that focuses on home renovation, specifically more so in that bathroom space. And this is another thing that traditionally, obviously, you wouldn't be giving a toilet for a gift, but it is something that with their strategy, because it takes that longer time to consider and purchase and plan, they actually implemented a Blue November. And so with Blue November, it was 30 days of different sales and promoting their offers, which was strategically outlined because of the longer time for people to consider to make a purchase. But then also when you're competing in that space with a lot of different consumable products and things like that, that people traditionally shop for during Black Friday, it was nice to have that full month so that people can hear about the sale, get some more education, some more targeting, and ultimately make a purchase by the end of the month. Lastly, we have Mito Red Light, and this is a red light therapy brand. Once again, it is that kind of longer time to consider to purchase. So it was definitely something in terms of just the overall marketing of how we look at different segments and target based off of that, but then also that education and that nurturing before Black Friday sale. So people feel informed about their purchase. So when it comes to Black Friday season, they're ready to, make their first purchase and convert and get over the line.
So all of these brands are very different, yet they all achieved great Black Friday success. And the one common denominator they had was following the Growth Guru's recipe for Black Friday success. And the first step of that is preparation, of course.
So when it comes to preparation, one thing that we want to have you stop and think when it comes to your overall Black Friday preparation stage is doing a pulse check. So when it comes to doing a pulse check, we recommend looking at your overall brand and its position in the market. How is your deliverability overall, and how much do you know about your audience, and what don't you know about your audience? It's important to take a step back and just kind of look at the big picture of your brand and how you guys are positioned at the moment.
So last year alone, almost 80% of Cyber Week e-commerce traffic originated from mobile phones. And what that's telling us is that it's really important to make sure your mobile website is optimized for that high influx of traffic that comes during the Black Friday time. And a few ways you could do that is making sure your site's loading quickly, that it's easy to navigate and easy to take action, just making that customer journey frictionless and seamless.
Another component that we want to touch on, it's not something that we're going to dive in necessarily today in this session, but it is really essential, is looking at the overall customer journey and the foundations that you have established. So we are really going to focus on Black Friday content and campaigns and setting you up for success in that way. But when it comes to the overall customer journey and your retention strategy, it really is essential to have a good, solid foundation. If you have gaps in those key flows and automation, like an abandoned cart, welcome flow, post-purchase, you're leaving revenue on the table for Black Friday and definitely not going to help that nurture and that repeat purchase behavior. So it is really, really essential that you do have that foundational flow and customer journey set up first. And so with all of that being said, with looking at kind of now diving into Black Friday in that preparation stage, the last thing that we encourage our brands to do, and what we do with working with a number of different clients, is recapping on last year's Black Friday learning. So there's a lot that you can learn when you dive into the data of last Black Friday or, previous years. Some things that we like to look at is what worked in terms of offers. What did you do in terms of A/B tests? What did you learn from those A/B tests of what worked well, what didn't? How did you talk to new versus old customers? And were there different purchasing habits between those segments, not only during Black Friday, but throughout the rest of the year? How was your deliverability with the send volume that you did? But then how many campaigns did you send out as well? Did you incorporate SMS strategy or a VIP strategy? How was your overall segmentation is always really important to understand. Some key stats that we would like to look at is total sale revenue, number of email campaigns sent out, and then the customer conversion and retention overall. So that customer lifetime value of seeing those, especially those new customers that came during Black Friday, what's their customer lifetime value compared to the rest of your business as usual segments. And so with all of that being said, now it's the really exciting part of diving into the Black Friday strategy. And so when we think about strategy at the Growth Gurus, with Black Friday especially, we think about it in different sections. We think about the pre-Black Friday, the Black Friday, and then the post-Black Friday. And it's really important to think of it comprehensively with that strategy, because otherwise you will be leaving revenue on the table. You won't be nurturing your contacts as well as you can be, and therefore not really truly getting the value of Black Friday for your brand. So with diving into that, first and foremost, we're going to look at setting up for success with pre-Black Friday. And we have this pre-Black Friday plan, which outlines some of our best practice steps when it comes to before the Black Friday sale. There might be a number of different things that apply to your brand or that you think need to be included that aren't included, but this is kind of our general outline of some of those pre-Black Friday steps that we like to implement for the majority of our clients.
Earlier, Olivia was talking about housekeeping, and the first item on that list is list cleaning. It's really important that going into Black Friday season, because you know you're going to be sending out a lot more content that you normally do, that you have a healthy, clean, and up-to-date list. So that way you can make sure you're going to have a high deliverability and high engagement rate with everything that you're sending out. And then the next step on the list is offer strategy. So this is a good time to look at not only what you did last Black Friday season that worked really well, but promotions that you ran outside of the Black Friday season that were really successful that you want to implement this year, and then go ahead and do some testing with those.
Just to add on to what Casey was talking about with the offer strategy, it is really important with this major sale of the year to have an offer that you feel pretty confident about. So whether this is, last Black Friday, you did a promotion that you are so happy with the results, or if you weren't necessarily happy with the results of last year's Black Friday, we encourage you to take a look at different offers that you have done throughout the year in general to see that kind of sense of engagement. If it is something that you're unsure about your Black Friday offer this year, you can do some testing. So selecting a specific segment and see how they respond and resonate with that offer. So some things like buy one, get one, double points, a certain dollar off or percentage off. It's really important to understand if these offers are compelling enough for your specific database. But also it's important to see, is it something that they actually can understand? Is it easy to follow? Are they confused by the whole buy one, get one promotion? It's really important that going into Black Friday with your offer that you feel confident that you have some data to back you up in the decision that this is going to deliver the results that you're hoping for. We then like to look at gathering additional data. And so we'll touch on this a little bit later, but with utilizing different first-party data collection tools like surveys, we can get a lot of data from our customers to truly understand how they are shopping with your brand for Black Friday, but then also to help increase with that segmentation, that personalization later on throughout the customer journey. We also want to look at growing your email list. So this is definitely something that brands focus on before Black Friday. I think it's something that we commonly see. However, at the Growth Gurus, we really want to focus on that quality growth over that kind of quick growth. So that's something that we really want to stress to brands, that it is essential that you're getting quality contacts in your database. And so when it comes to getting quality growth, that's where we look at leveraging your existing and engaged customer base. That's where we can see the best results of getting that quality growth. So a couple different ways to do this is looking at implementing some lead capture directly on your website. So pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday lead capture is really great. This is an example on the screen of just kind of using that traditional incentive that we might have of like 10% off or 15% off for first-time visitors. Instead, we're using Black Friday as an incentive itself, which does a couple things. One, it kind of removes that discount behavior leading up to Black Friday to help make Black Friday a little bit more successful. But then it also gets people excited about Black Friday itself. So it's really great to incorporate these kind of lead captures on your website with Black Friday being the incentive. One thing that we would recommend, though, is using this for first-time visitors on the website. If you are finding that people aren't engaging with this offer of Black Friday being the incentive, that's where you could keep your traditional like return visitor pop-ups on the website with that traditional discount instead, just to make sure that you are definitely capturing all traffic coming to your website. Giveaways and prizes are another great way to grow your list. However, going back to what we were saying about quality growth, giveaways that specifically leverage your existing database are really powerful. And Viral Sweep is a platform that we like to use at the Growth Gurus that helps with utilizing your database through a referral method to grow your database really quickly with similar people as your target audience in your database already. So this is really great. if you're looking for a quick giveaway, utilizing different giveaways and like referral aspects on social media can also work. However, we do find that kind of leveraging on platforms like Viral Sweep does bring a higher quality of new leads coming into the database than maybe a social giveaway does. Next, referral programs. If you have a loyalty and referral program, this is really, really great to use key segments. So when we say key segments for referrals, we're talking about champions and loyals. Using these key segments are really great to do a promotion before Black Friday with the referral offer. So it could be your normal referral offer that you have on your website, or it could be increasing the referral offer for the special time before Black Friday to encourage them to share even more. But these champion and loyals, they are already your brand advocates. And so you're going to probably get a much higher return of focusing on these segments versus opening it up to everybody and spending time trying to market to everybody. So we definitely encourage you to have some specific targeted campaigns to these champion and loyal segments to get some more people like them in your database. The next list that's really important to grow is your SMS list. And so SMS, there's a number of different reasons why it's really important to grow your SMS list during Black Friday, especially. If you think about all the different brands around the world that are sending a high volume of different campaigns and marketing to consumers, it's really difficult to actually cut through the noise. And so that's why a lot of people increase their sending cadence during this time of year just to land in someone's inbox. SMS is a more personal channel and it's a more immediate channel. So people will get a text message right on their phone versus having to compete with a lot of emails in an inbox. So you definitely want to use SMS during your Black Friday strategy. It is something that you should be using with that idea that it is a personal channel. You don't want to spam your customers or they will unsubscribe. So it is something that you should be really intentional with your marketing with SMS, but it is something that you can cut through the noise a little bit better. And so it is really important to grow this segment. So how you can do this is a number of different things. Before Black Friday, doing an SMS first access opt-in, if you want to give first access to those SMS contacts for the Black Friday sale, you can do that. And so this should just be a really simple and easy email campaign that just has one CTA that leads to a form for them to sign up for SMS. So you can do this by targeting email subscribers who are not SMS subscribers. But we also encourage you to leverage different aspects of your community, such as on Instagram or something like that. You can link a form for them to sign up for SMS directly in your stories or in your bio to encourage people throughout your brand's community to make sure that they're opted in for email and SMS before Black Friday. So once you have a larger database through all these strategies, it's really great to then make sure, or it's essential really, to make sure that these leads are nurtured. And what it means to nurture your leads before Black Friday can mean a number of different things. So if we go back to looking at some brands where they have that longer lead to purchase cycle and they require more education and nurturing, it is something that you want to make sure that these people are in your database well ahead before Black Friday. Otherwise, you won't have enough time to actually get them educated about your product, introduce them to your brand, things like that before Black Friday. So they might not be ready to make a purchase by then. So it's really important to reflect on what new customers need to know about your brand to feel nurtured and ready to consider to make a purchase, and make sure you're taking that timeline in consideration with doing these pre-Black Friday objectives. So when it comes to nurturing, I really like this example on the screen, which is looking at the channel of SMS. Remember when we were saying that it's a very personalized channel. And so with this, we were using it as the channel is intended to be, that personal kind of communication channel where we're able to then lead them into a journey to find exactly what they're after. So we use two-way messaging to have the user actually respond back. And with that response, we're able to craft a journey based off of that. If they're looking for specific products, if they should go to the product quiz, if they need to talk to customer service, we're able to actually communicate with that user and nurture them so that they're able to find exactly what they're looking for. And then lastly, when it comes to the pre-Black Friday plan, the reminder campaigns are something that we actually find extremely powerful for our clients and something I encourage all brands to implement. So this is a great example of a calendar reminder email. There's two aspects of this email that I really, really like. One is the simple CTA of linking to a Google Calendar reminder notification. So this actually will set up a Google Calendar reminder of your Black Friday sale for the user. And so when we're talking about all that congestion that happens during Black Friday and cutting through the noise, this is another way that you can do this where they will actually get a notification when your Black Friday sale has officially gone live and hopefully, go straight to your website. We also have the aspect of a product feed and encouraging them to do some window shopping before the big sale. So you're not only competing for space in someone's inbox during Black Friday, but you're also competing for their time. So it is something that encouraging them to do some window shopping, prepping their shopping cart, things like that ahead of the sale. It makes it really easy for them once they get that notification to go to your website and check out really seamlessly.
So while we're talking about strategy, a really important part of that is diving into your customer segments, and you want to make sure you're talking to your customers differently based on what tier of engagement they're falling into. So Yotpo tells us that we have a 60 to 70% higher chance of selling to an already existing customer versus a much lower 5 to 20% chance of selling to a new customer. So what that's telling us is that you want to focus most of your time and attention on that already existing customer because they have a much higher intent of purchasing, but still not to forget about that lower 5 to 20% because there is a chance you can convert them into the future. We're going to talk more about this later with hyper-personalization and shaping up the content around it. But for now, it's just really important to remember and make sure that you're talking to your customer segments differently.
So one of the things that we mentioned during the pre-Black Friday plan was diving into data. And so this is a section that we wanted to specifically break out to dive into different ways that you can collect first-party data or use data a little bit more to be strategic and personalized with your messaging during Black Friday. One thing that we encourage our clients and that we incorporate in our marketing calendar for Black Friday is if they have a product quiz, to definitely leverage this during your Black Friday strategy. So product quizzes are great. We find that brands that not only have a product quiz and people fill it out, they are more likely to convert and purchase, but they're also more likely to spend more. So it's great to get people over to product quizzes. And before Black Friday, targeting people that are non-customers that haven't taken the product quiz or people that haven't purchased from you in a period of time and encourage them to take the quiz to find what products is right for them or any new products is really great, once again, to reduce any friction during that purchase experience. And so they're led specifically to the right product for them based off of a series of different questions and things like that. With that in mind, you can then take that information and personalize the email campaigns and messaging during Black Friday with their products that they got from that product quiz. Another really unique, I think, way to get more information that I haven't seen a lot of brands do, but we like to implement, especially for a non kind of gift giving product, is looking at holiday shopping surveys. So this is something I think that actually all brands can really learn from, but collecting data from your customers, it could be from a specific segment if you prefer, but collecting data from your customers to understand how they shop during the holiday season and specifically with your brand is really, really powerful to truly get the insights of how you should be marketing Black Friday. So this is a great example of looking at a non-traditional like gift giving product and actually asking the users, the customers, if they do plan on giving the product as a gift. If they say yes, then we can put them in a gift giving segment. But if they say no, we can put them in a non-gift giving segment. And we shouldn't be sending them tons of gift giving messages if they have zero intention of using your product as a gift. So that's just something of being really intentional with collecting data, but then also leveraging and using it later on when it comes to your Black Friday promotion strategy, but then also that post Black Friday as well. So now that we've kind of gone through the overall strategy, there's a couple different components that are left and remaining. And so shaping up the content is really important when it comes to your overall promotion strategy for Black Friday. With looking at this, the messaging is essential. So, if people do open your emails, you really want to have that clear and consistent messaging across the board. So, we recommend having main messaging and secondary messaging. And when we look at these two examples on the screen, there's some things that we list to consider. So, for the main messaging, you should be looking at the value proposition, that it's very clear. It shows that sense of urgency, and it's very simple. When things are too overly complicated, we find that people don't act at all. So it's really important that it's clear, it's concise, and it's simple. And then with the secondary messaging, that's where you can incorporate any customer centric benefits, encourage further engagement, double points, free shipping, things like that. That's where you can have those additional like value adds. But the main messaging should be extremely clear and just call out the offer straight away. We then also encourage brands during the Black Friday period to create a mood board. This has been something really beneficial that we craft with our clients. And it's something that, especially during this time of year, we find clients, they want to have a bit of fun with Black Friday, which is super exciting. I think it's something that brands really find exciting, but your customers also find super exciting as well. It also helps to differentiate your kind of business as usual campaigns from those Black Friday promotional campaigns. So incorporating things like specific colors, gifts, and looking at how you want to focus on the offer is really important. And it's something that leads into the next point of message mapping. So with having your main messaging outlined clearly, your mood board, you can then go and meet with different agency partners or something like that, your whole team, and make sure that everyone's aligned on the overall look and feel for Black Friday. The reason for this is that it's really important to have this message mapping experience where you can start from Facebook ad to pop up, web banner, and then going, you can see like the email flows. I think that this example from Brooklinen is really, really great. Even though it's not Black Friday related, it really just shows that complete customer journey and how things are consistent. With this consistency, it's just going to deliver a better overall promotion strategy, but it does connect the dots for users, whether they saw the promotion on TikTok or they saw it on your website. Everything kind of connects. And with that connection, they'd be more likely to convert.
So the final step of the Growth Guru's recipe to Black Friday success is execution. So depending on your brand, you're going to want to go ahead and decide what individual channels is best to get your Black Friday messaging across. So now we'll dig into what we know best, which is the best practices for both SMS and email.
So starting off with email campaigns, we mentioned that with that messaging, it really should be really short and concise. So a couple other things that we recommend incorporating in your campaigns is building anticipation. So that early access or countdown timers to highlight urgencies is really powerful. And definitely incorporating that towards the top of the email. So it is something that they see right at the top. Also, A/B testing is really great. So when we look at A/B testing for Black Friday, typically we would look at kind of subject line testing for reminder campaigns. So it's something that you wouldn't expect one subject line to resonate with your whole database, especially if you're opening up to all contacts during Black Friday, like many brands do. So what we encourage is having some testing time with subject lines, especially for resend campaigns and reminder campaigns. Anything that is time sensitive, like the launch email or final reminder, 24 hours, things like that, we encourage you to kind of get all that out at once versus doing that testing window and delay any of those sends. So for reminder campaigns, really great to use A/B testing for subject lines. And then also just make sure that the content is also really simple. So you can see that we just have a highlight of the offer, a CTA at the top, and then later on we can showcase different modules and things like that, but it should be really clear and simple at the top of the email. So when it comes to the other modules that I mentioned on the last slide, adding some variety with your resends is really great. So if you find that they're not resonating with those simple emails that just have the offer at the top and then a product feed, and after a couple sends, they're not engaging with that, we shouldn't be sending them the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So adding some variety with different modules is really great towards the bottom of the email to add additional value adds and try to resonate with them in different ways. So social proof, highlighting your subscriptions. If you have a bundle that's perfect for first-time customers. Highlighting that to take out any of that friction is really great. And one thing that we have on the screen is this Black Friday opt out. This is something that we encourage for anything that we're sending a lot of different campaigns, and we want to not have an increase in unsubscribe rate. So if they're not interested in your Black Friday sale, we don't want them to unsubscribe from your email database overall, if they're getting, an influx of different campaigns and stuff like that. So what we do is we create this Black Friday, Cyber Monday opt-out link. So when they press that, they actually go into a segment, and then we would exclude that segment from the rest of the Black Friday campaigns. So this just helps with your overall health, especially when you have an increase of sending out campaigns without bombarding people who don't want to hear about Black Friday. So it's something that I don't see a lot of brands doing, and something that I think is really powerful to do during this time of year. Looking at other components when it comes to emails, email flows are definitely a really essential part of that customer journey. You want to make sure that you're incorporating some of that Black Friday, Cyber Monday specific content in those flows. So if you think about somebody that goes from a Black Friday campaign, they go to your website, they see the Black Friday promotion, they browse a product, and then they leave your website. If they go through a browse abandonment flow that has your business as usual browse abandonment flow offer and doesn't say anything about Black Friday, they're probably going to be very confused and not convert. So it's really important to update things like the subject lines, include your Black Friday promotion during those key flows that are before that purchase cycle, especially. So there's a number of other things that we also recommend with email flows. One is decreasing time delays for high traffic flows. So for high traffic flows, we look at abandoned cart flows, browse abandonment flows, added to cart, things like that. And then also turning off smart sending on these key flows as well. So you want to make sure that it's going out to everyone. For SMS specifically, this is that channel that we mentioned that needs to be taken into consideration and very intentional with how you're sending it, but it definitely should be prioritized when it comes to those time-sensitive messages. So abandoned cart, browse abandonment, cut through the noise with utilizing SMS and sending them an SMS first before they get their email flow. It's also great to do some testing between MMS and SMS to see which one resonates best with your database. This is something we also encourage you to dive into before Black Friday, but it's definitely something you can test out during Black Friday as well. And then, as Casey mentioned, with looking at segmentation and personalization, utilizing different modules like dynamic content, personalized promotions, so how you're talking to a subscriber versus a non-subscriber, all those things should be taken into consideration. Because as you can see from the stat on the slide, that 60% of consumers think messages from brands are most engaging when they are relevant to them. So it makes complete sense. And so there's a number of different ways that you can incorporate this personalization through dynamic content, through AI product feeds, things like that, that really go a long way for a user. And one of my favorite components, loyalty programs. This is definitely not something that should be overlooked. It's definitely something that you want to encourage to grow your loyalty program during Black Friday for year-round success. So refreshing your loyalty program to reflect what you have outlined in your main messaging and your mood board is really important. It does give a refresh to that loyalty program, which makes it really fun for your loyalty program members, but it also makes it incorporated in your Black Friday strategy, which is really important. So looking at special loyalty only perks, additional referral incentives, like we talked about earlier, and then double points is a great way to incorporate this during Black Friday. And then one thing to call out when it comes to loyalty is if you are implementing things like double points, what we find works the best is making sure to highlight the point conversion of what the points actually mean. So what is the dollar value or what do they get with points, especially for non-loyalty members to get them over the line to join the loyalty program? It really needs to be clear of why they should join loyalty and what's the monetary value of joining the loyalty program as well. So with all that being said, there's quite a bit that goes into Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And so there's a number of different things that we like to map out at the Growth Gurus to make sure that we have a flawless execution. So, utilizing different features like multi message campaign planning is really powerful to look at building out your Black Friday strategy. But I really like the example, having it on the screen, of putting the different aspects and components that we talked about today together. So, looking at mapping out the non customer journey. If they've taken the product quiz or they haven't taken the product quiz, how are you talking to people that have placed an order before versus they haven't? If they're part of the loyalty program, things like that. We like to visually map that out. As a being a visual person myself, this is really important to be able to see the customer journey from end to end during Black Friday. Walking you through a couple different components, we have a couple slides of what this journey could potentially look like and some things for you to consider. So starting with early access of different timings of what does that look like for someone who does have early access versus doesn't. If they're part of the loyalty program, if they're not, if they're part of it, we're sending them early access. If they're not, we're encouraging them to sign up. And then also utilizing different channels based off of their preference. So you can see here the timeline of an email versus SMS, depending on what they engage with the most, and sending messages accordingly. We then have that journey, which leads us into that post Black Friday, Cyber Monday experience of if they made a purchase during Black Friday. If they did, what does that communication look like to them? And if they didn't, how are we communicating with them after?
So the most important part of Black Friday, like we said, is the actual Black Friday and post. The success of Black Friday doesn't just fall into that small, short window where the sales happen. So now we'll get a bit into the post experience. So we learned that over 42% of brands agree that their biggest challenge in improving customer retention is the lack of engagement between purchases. So now what we're going to do is Olivia's going to walk you through and show you how to take some of those customers you got from your Black Friday, the new customers, and turn them into loyalty customers through some retargeting.
So, one of the first things when it comes to retargeting is doing a number of different retargeting campaigns. So, the campaigns are really great that you can look at different segments as if they purchased versus if they didn't purchase. If they didn't purchase, there's a couple different avenues we typically like to see and we typically recommend to clients. So if you are open to extending the offer, sometimes extending it to this specific segment that engaged with Black Friday but didn't purchase is great to get a few more people over the line. As we mentioned, there's a lot of competition and congestion during this time of year. So it might just be something that they needed another reminder to get them over the line. However, another avenue that you can look at is get the understanding of why they engaged but didn't purchase. So we're seeing more of a desire to utilize micro surveys and different survey platforms to collect customer data to understand what held them back from purchasing and using that information to then send targeted campaigns. So if they said lack of education, we might send an educational based campaign about more about the products they engaged with or about the brand overall. But if they just said that they weren't sure what products were right for them and stuff like that, that's where you can get customer service involved, or you can showcase the product quiz that we talked about earlier. So there's a number of different things that you can do of either collecting customer data and then using that data to then create segmented campaigns, or looking at kind of just extending your sale for specific segments to see if that gets them over the line. Another component for retargeting campaigns would be using the data, as I mentioned, that you've collected, and using that to shape up your marketing calendar for the rest of the year. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, this is ending in December this year. So it's really important to look at the rest of the month of how you're promoting holidays, gift giving, based off of the data you collected. So this is a really great example is if they were a gift giver, the type of content that we were sending them, which is stock up for the holidays, it's playing into that holiday spirit. But if they said that they were never interested in giving the brand's products as a gift, then we changed that messaging and we said, treat yourself to better health. So that was how we were able to send similar campaigns promoting similar products, but the messaging being different and tailored to how they said that they interact with the brand overall. And the last thing when it comes to your post Black Friday experience that's really important is that nurturing component. So we talked about that pre-nurture before Black Friday, but the post-nurture is really, really important, especially if you have a subscription model. It's really important that you're continuing to send targeted campaigns nurturing them based off of how many months they've purchased since Black Friday. So checking in with them every month, you could just have that regular communication, but then also to check in to see how satisfied they are with their subscription, things like that. Those different strategies to nurture that customer base is what's going to help you extend their customer lifetime value and see that year-round success. So it's really important that once Black Friday happens, you don't kind of set and forget everyone that was a new customer during this time. It's really important to be intentional with your marketing and do targeted sends based off of those segments. So my top 3 tips when it comes to Black Friday is definitely that planning and strategy stage, that really being intentional of understanding truly your database and who you're talking to, how they're actually engaging with your brand during Black Friday and using that information, that data to promote your Black Friday plan. I also think it's important to have a higher send volume this year. There's a lot of competition and congestion in people's inboxes. So being really intentional with your segmentation and the channels that you're using, but increasing your send volume is definitely something that we're hearing from a number of different brands this year. And then I also think that post Black Friday experience, that is something that a lot of brands seem to neglect. And so although it is not during that Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, it is definitely essential and really important when it comes to your overall Black Friday success, but year-round success as well. So there's definitely a lot of emphasis and importance during that post Black Friday and how you communicate to those new contacts that have made a purchase during that time of year.
Focus on personalization. Don't worry about digging into too many channels or doing SMS if that's something you can't afford or you're not ready for. Just focus on the customer segments you have in front of you and make sure you're nurturing them.
All right, so that is our Growth Gurus Black Friday, Cyber Monday strategies and best practices. We hope that you guys all found a lot of value with that. As you can see from our walkthrough today, there is so much that can go into Black Friday, but it's really important to truly get the most out of this time of year to follow these different steps along the way and really consider the pre and the post Black Friday as well when it comes to your strategy. So at the Growth Gurus, we work with brands in a number of different ways, and we have a number of different Black Friday, Cyber Monday packages as well. So from strategy to consulting perspective to also production support, we are able to support your brand in a variety of different ways. So if you have any questions or are interested in any of our Black Friday packages this year, please get in touch and we'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you about it.